Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fictionally Unstable, because real life's not dramatic enough. Today, we're going to be diving into the first two books of the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, which is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. We'll be giving our overall ratings of each book, chatting about our favorite moments, favorite characters, and unraveling all of our feels from this amazing series. So let's get into it.
I think maybe first off, we should start with our ratings of Fourth Wing.
Yes.
And then Iron Flame.
Okay.
Marcia, you can start us off.
Okay. So initial ratings first for me, at least. I gave both of them a 5-star initial rating, like keeping them separate.
Yeah.
The why for Fourth Wing is again, I don't read fantasy, so I was not expecting to like it. I was like, girl, I don't want to read about dragons, like whatever. But the book got me connected right away, immediately during chapter 1. It reminded me of Hunger Games and also Divergent, which I love those two worlds in itself. And it kept me interested. This is also the very first book that I have ever cried in. I cried in all fucking 30 books. But I like a story that makes me, like, I feel like I'm in a roller coaster, right? It makes me feel emotions.
Yeah.
It makes me think about different things that I probably never really would think about. I don't like to pick up a book, read it, and then just drop it and like kind of whatever. If I can stay thinking about it, clearly it made an impact on me. So Fourth Wing initially I gave 5 stars. And then Iron Flame I also gave 5 stars. If I were to, I feel like they're all great in their own like entity.
Yes.
But if I had to, now starting to read further down the series, I think I would change my initial rating for Fourth Wing to probably like a 4.5, and then I would keep Iron Flame at a 5.
Lauren, what about you?
I think overall also a 5, because I haven't had a series where like, it sticks with me and I think about it all the time, because I think about this all the time. But I feel like individually, Fourth Wing still gets a 5 for me, because that one was my favorite. I feel like Iron Flame was probably like a 4.7.
Okay.
And then Onyx Storm probably like a 4 point. Or wait, no, we're not talking about.
Not yet.
But yeah, I feel like
episode.
Fourth Wing was still my favorite, so I still give that a 5. And then the other one is 4.7.
Okay. I'm similar to you. So originally, when I just first read Fourth Wing, I gave it a 4.5. Now going back and reading a few of the other books, I would give Fourth Wing a 5. And for me, I would give Iron Flame a 4.5.
Okay.
Yes.
Not our favorite.
I have reasons, but
that we will discuss.
That we will discuss later. But yeah, I think for me, out of all the 3 that we've read so far, Fourth Wing is my favorite one. I'm with Lauren. Yeah. Okay.
So let's dive into Fourth Wing a little bit.
Yeah.
We aren't going to talk too much about Fourth Wing in comparison to Iron Flame. The why for that is because before we had this lovely episode and decided to start a podcast, we actually really dived in and talked about Fourth Wing for like an hour and a half, so we don't have to replay this whole conversation in front of a camera. It doesn't make sense. But we'll talk about a couple things. So when it comes to Fourth Wing, let's talk about the what is it? What are they called? Conscription Day, or everything up to threshing.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. So, as you know, if you've read Fourth Wing, they have to cross the parapet to get into the Rider's Quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
Once they pass the parapet, they do challenges, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like sparring challenges that they kind of get graded on.
Yeah.
Then they have to pass the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to do the presentation.
Yes.
Right?
Where they walk through the valley.
Where they walk through the valley, and then it's threshing.
Yes.
Right? There's nothing else really in that.
I don't think so.
Oh, no. What am I thinking of? The War Games? Is that after?
That's
after.
That's after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is all for them. These are first years. They go through these different challenges to get graded. Well, essentially, if you fail, you die. So they
Right.
have to live. And this is all what they have to do before they bond with a dragon.
Yeah.
If the dragon decides to bond with it.
Right.
They can not be bonded, and then they have to go through it again, technically. So let's talk about the different challenges. Which challenge do you guys feel like you would be the best at? And then which one do you think you'd be the worst at? And then we can talk about the gauntlet in itself, because that one had like 7 different things.
Okay.
But yeah, so Jess.
Parapet easy. I'm sorry. Like, I've seen things where people are literally sitting here measuring how wide the parapet is. I was like, I mean, I understand that weather would like play a role and like it would make things a little bit harder, but I don't know, the fact that like Jax can even just like run across it, I was like, I could do that. Like, I think that it wouldn't be that. I mean, if you're scared of heights, I can see how like if you get dizzy and you're scared of heights, that would be a little bit challenging for you. But yeah, parapet easy, hands down.
Which one's your worst?
Probably the gauntlet. I am not athletic enough for that, and I have like 0 upper body strength, so I'd be fucked.
We said presentation was a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. That's your best one?
I think presentation, because I feel like I could remain calm enough.
Okay.
You're like, hi, I'm Lauren. Please pick me. I'm pretty cool.
Like,
Hi.
what's your name? I feel like I could remain calm in that situation enough to where I won't die. Gauntlet 100% is the one I'm dying on, though. So I won't even make it there.
Call me, what's her name? Who's the girl that dies?
Oh,
It starts with an A.
It does start with an
They are
Amarelli?
Amelie?
Amelie?
Is it Amarelli?
No, it's like
Girl. It'll come later. I have no notes.
Yeah.
It'll come later.
okay.
I was also thinking the same. So I think I would be great at the presentation if that's truly one of them. I feel like I would be great at the presentation. One, because I know how to listen to instructions, and they say never make eye contact with a dragon.
Right.
And I'm already good at that. I practice with my dogs all the time. If they don't want me looking at their eyes, I don't look at their eyes. The one I would be worse at, it depends. I feel like if I had to make it across the gauntlet, I would do it. By all means necessary, I would do it.
Okay.
But the parapet, I feel like I would be fine at. However, without knowing the knowledge that we know, in the sense of like, oh, it could be slippery or whatever. Because remember, Violet crossed it because she had like traction in her shoes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at balance. However, like
If you slip, you slip.
If you slip, you slip. If I have some big ass mofo like Barlow running after me, I might die.
Yeah.
So realistically, okay, probably the gauntlet, but it depends on the circumstances. Maybe I'd be worse at parapet.
I was always curious with the gauntlet because they always mentioned like the ropes being like able to catch, but I could never visualize like
they're like
how
hanging
they
off the sides of the cliff. Right?
So it's just like if you're going down the cliff, you got to grab one.
Right.
Right.
That's how I imagined it. I think. Also, just based off of
Aurelie.
Aurelie. Yeah.
I put here the gauntlet reminds me of American Ninja Warrior.
Literally.
But if you fall, you die.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But see, I know I would die on that because I have no upper body strength. I have no upper strength.
So the
which
gauntlet.
part would you die at?
Yeah.
How far would you make it?
Do we need to look up the picture again?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I'm like, I remember
what it was.
There's
like
a rolling log.
The spinny thing that I could not imagine for the death
Jump
of me.
through.
The balls.
Yes. And then there's like isn't there like
oh, the pillars. The pillars are
the pillars,
right? Pillars are first.
And then there's one where you have to like
Why is this
scale.
picture so small?
Yeah, and then you do the ramp.
And then you do the ramp. Yeah.
I'm having technical difficulties.
The ramp you wouldn't die at, but I don't know if I'm making it up.
I was gonna say, like, the one where you have to shimmy, I 1000% cannot do that.
Oh,
like
with
the
feet.
yeah.
Oh yeah. So the first one is the rotating log. that spins horizontally. And then you have to jump the pegs. It reminds me of Mulan, those little pegs.
Yeah.
And then you have the spinning hamster wheel that spins like this, not like this.
Yeah, it was like the
And it has a little hole, so you have to jump through the hole.
Yeah.
Then you have the 5 balls. And then you have the shaking logs. So you have 3 that are horizontal, and then you have 3 that are vertical.
Okay.
After that, you have the 7 rolling logs that roll in different directions. That's where Aurelie died. And then you have the climbing thing. And then you have the ramp.
Okay.
So,
it's the walls that are taking.
girl, realistically, it's the balls. Like, there is no way that I can hold. I can hold myself if I'm like this.
Yeah.
Not hugging a
But
thing
then you
like
have to
this.
swing yourself to the next ones too.
Yeah.
Where's the strength coming from?
It's not.
Nowhere, because I can't hold on.
It's not.
Yeah, no.
100% dying at the balls.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Have you guys ever been to like a obstacle course on water and like how easy it is to fall off? The first thing with the rolling log, I can imagine very similar. Just like, whoop, well, there I go. Like, so if it's not the balls, it's that.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah. So then do we just want to dive into our questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So, this is like a freaking novel. Okay, so the first question, discussion question that was kind of going around the internet is familial roles, both found family and birth family, play a huge part in Iron Flame. In many ways, Violet seems closer to her newly formed Fourth Wing family than to her biological family. Do you agree? Why or why not? And what factors of family do you think are most important in the novel?
I think Violet is 100% valid in finding a new family in her squad. And I think that it's valid because they go through a lot of kind of just traumatic things together. And I think they kind of built connections that way. Like they're all here for this one reason. So I think she's valid in finding a new family. I think maybe she doesn't have as big of a connection to her birth family just because of the way her mother is, the fact that her father died, the fact that her brother died, and the fact that Mira was always away because she's a writer, right? So that's how I kind of thought about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's valid because to me, it's like her mom was shitty to her, even though like she was doing it for her own reasons and like sending her into the writer's quadrant and trying to do it to protect her. But I think that she just didn't do it. Like she didn't form a relationship with her daughter before everything else. So I think she's valid in thinking that. And yeah, I mean, I feel like family is more so like who you connect the most with. It's not necessarily bloodline. So I think that that's perfectly fine and valid.
Yeah, I agree with that. Family is more than just blood. And a lot of times depending on however your relationship is with your family, right? Everybody's different. But I definitely do believe in a lot of times too. I think even in my personal life that I have more friends that I call family than I have a very extensive family. Let's put it that way. Than that extensive family feeling like family in a sense. With her, she's in her right definitely for finding her family in her Iron Squad or in everybody that's surrounded her. And the why for that, or why I believe that, is because her family never saw her than anything but weak in order to take her the youngest Sorengale, right? Like she's almost like nothing. And then they're constantly putting her through challenges of like, we need you to live up to XYZ, where everybody else doesn't treat her like that. Like they see the importance of her. They see that she is worthy. They help her believe that she's worthy. So yeah, it's definitely separating the family from friends or her friends becoming her family. I think she's very valid.
Right. I think even just with Taryn and Darna, right? Like Taryn is very much like a father figure to her, and that's something that I really love about that as well. Like he chose her for a reason and kind of becomes this like doting father figure to not only Andarna but her as well, and I find that really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from the beginning, like in the very first chapter where it's like Mira and her mom like arguing over her going into it, it's like her family never listened to her and like what she wanted or like what she was feeling. They just like kind of assumed her emotions for her. But then as soon as she was in the writer's quadrant, they like everyone that she considers family was like listening to what she needed and what she was asking and wasn't just assuming that she couldn't do things, but that she like had to and she was going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, they are loyal as hell. Like
Loyal.
she got put in the best squad. Like
Literally.
Xaden did her a favor by saying, "You're going to that one instead." But
I thought she was supposed to be in the other one.
She was supposed to be in another squad, and then
was it Amber's squad?
Oh, because Dane
Right?
was in a different squad.
Yeah, but then they all got shifted.
but then
over to Xaden.
Zayden moved her to.
I think it was.
That
Was
one,
it Amber's
right?
that she was supposed to be under?
I forget.
Because she was a wing leader.
You're right. Because they were second wing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 And he was meaning Dane was the, what are they called?
Wing leader.
No.
Oh.
He was what is Rhiannon?
Oh, squad leader.
Thank you.
Squad leader.
Squad leader. And
Zayden
then
was wing leader.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And then he was like, no, you both are going to be part of whatever.
Yes.
So yeah, because I'm positive it was Amber's because Amber and Dane were close and because they were all in the same
Right. You're correct.
wing, and
Yeah.
then he got removed. From
Was
her
she
wing.
wing leader when he was under her? Or did they both become wing leaders at the same time?
I think she became wing leader. Was she in second year or was she third year in fourth wing?
No, she's a wing leader because she's the one that tried to kill Violet or helped the people try to kill Violet, right?
Right.
And I remember at the top of the passage they said that accusing a wing leader is a big offense.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they killed her. Yeah. So then
Yeah.
she wasn't a wing leader when her and Dane had whatever they had.
Yeah.
But then
But now
was
she
the
is.
next year.
Yeah.
And just so we're clear, I hated Dane in fourth.
Oh, 1,000%.
I think most of us did. Yeah, I think most of
But
us did.
he's growing.
Yeah.
Whatever. He was just
He's the
literally
real-
the worst.
He's the real enemies to lovers, him in the audience, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. And Violet thought that Xaden wanted to bring her over to his squad because like he had it out for her pretty much, right? Yeah.
So in Iron Flame, obviously we have a lot of changes. So Xaden graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So now Dane is wing leader.
Yeah.
He needs to promote somebody to be squad leader.
Mm-hmm.
So Rhiannon is promoted to that early in the novel. Period, girl.
Love our girl Ree.
It says, what qualities do you think make her a good or bad leader? And would you have chosen another character for a leadership role? If so, why?
I think Rhiannon was a good choice for squad leader. I feel like her squad mates respect her, and I think that's an important quality.
Mhm.
And I think she's kind of continuously proven that she's someone that's always going to be there for her squad mates, and I think that's a good quality in a leader as well. So those are kind of the two things that I found that made her a good fit for that role specifically.
Yeah, I agree. I think she was the best choice out of their squad because to me, she was always level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She thought like Dane in the sense that she would like abide by the codex or the rules or whatever, but never to like a fault where it would put her like squad at risk
Yes.
or put anyone else at risk.
Mhm.
I think like her only like weak spot is for Violet because like they're best friends. So
Right.
she like it says later like how she needs to stop thinking about her as like her best friend and think about her as like a weapon or like a writer or warrior or whatever. So I feel like that's her only weak spot to me because otherwise I feel like she's literally that exact title.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what both of you guys said. There's nobody else that could really take that spot at all. And I think the reason why she doesn't follow the codex is based off of her loyalty to her friends, like that unconditional love that she has for them, that it's just like, we're going to do what's right for what we think is right. And I'm going to do what's right by our wing or squad or whatever you want to call it.
And especially when Violet finally tells her like all the secrets in Iron Flame about like what she's been thinking about, her response to it was very good. Like it was very level-headed. She didn't have like any heightened emotions about it.
Right.
Mhm.
I think she was like a little bit. Well, there was like I don't want to say a rift, right? But like Rhea always knew something was off with her.
Yeah.
Right.
She just
And,
wanted
like,
to know.
Yeah, she just wanted to know. Like she was hurt by it, but like she never let that ruin their friendship or like their relationship as like a squad leader and a writer. Yeah. Love my girl Rhea. Can't think of anybody else who
I know,
could take that.
she's pretty cool.
She's cool. I really like her.
Doubting that she's pretty cool. She's cool.
She's cool. Yeah.
And if she gets killed off, I can really
I'm gonna be really upset.
Ooh, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's kind of based off of the truths and the lies, because we noticed that there's a lot of secrets in Iron Flame, specifically in that book.
Mhm.
A lot of things come to light. Obviously, at the end of Fourth Wing, freaking we find out Brennan's alive.
Yeah.
Like, boy, where you been?
Yeah.
What you been doing? And then we start finding out about multiple signets
Yes.
and just other people's powers and all this kind of stuff. So, truth and lies are explored heavily throughout the novel, especially in Violet's relationships with others, Xaden and his half-truths, her squad, with the risk of putting them in danger, her family, from Brennan being alive to the truth of the revolution. So, do you think any of these lies were the wrong choice? Xaden seems to believe that trust between Violet and himself has to develop without complete transparency. Do you agree?
I think that in terms of like having complete transparency, I think it's impossible to have complete transparency in their world. So I think that like Violet constantly asking for full transparency about things that she doesn't even know about is, I feel like, hard for Xaden to give. So I agree that Xaden was like not fully in the wrong with not being fully transparent with her, just because it's like you have things like people can read your mind or like read your intentions, whatever. And so I think that she doesn't get full transparency because of that, because there's so many
Right.
other factors.
And also, like, I'm sorry, but their relationship was kind of new.
yeah, literally.
So it's just like, I'm supposed to tell you.
This girl, he just told you he loved you.
Like,
Well, technically, that took a while
that took
because he
after.
wanted you to say it
Yeah.
after you found out. Why did she like retract from him? What was the reason?
The because she found out that he's part of the rebellion, right? And like after
when he knew about Venom and like
yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So it's kind of like what? Of course he's gonna.
like why would he tell you those like world-shattering secrets on like a first fucking date?
Right.
And I think about it too. I know we're not talking about Onyx Storm, so I'll just say this really quickly. But in Onyx Storm, Brennan talks about how she loses her focus completely.
Mhm.
Like she needs to pick one thing and stick to it, or
Mhm.
nobody's gonna survive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if he gave her all that information, like this girl would literally
Explode. Yeah.
explode, put herself in the ground. Like
Mhm.
she cannot keep focus for one
Right.
thing.
Mhm.
I think her getting little pieces of information at a time was probably best instead of like a whole plethora of, so this is actually what's happening and what I'm doing and who I am and like my abilities and this and that. Could you imagine?
And then, well, after girl found out, even though it was after the battle and stuff, but she was like comatose in her room for like days.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, we didn't have time for you to be comatose.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
also too how she expects full transparency. I think with Xaden keeping secrets from her, like I get it, that's what she wants, but he has boundaries as well.
Mhm.
So perfect example, the relationship discussion.
Mhm.
Where she's like, why don't you ever ask me who I was in a relationship? And he's like, I don't want to know.
Right.
Like, that's going to mess me up. The guy is already fucking
And it
obsessed
is.
with this girl. And clearly he's the guy in the corner, like the secretive whatever, you know?
Right.
He knows what he's going to
Like
do
you
the second you say
girl,
something.
you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah.
His signet is shadows. Okay. Like you mentioned throughout the entire book, like, oh, like he's full of secrets. And
You want a toxic man.
yeah.
So you got to talk to people.
Not really though.
Really?
So, I think we're good on that. Let's
Okay.
just dive into our own questions. I was like, because those are pretty lengthy.
Okay. Do we want to first talk about which character we think we are most like? Is
Sure.
that-
If you want to start, I can go last because I'm really got it.
Which character we are most like?
Yeah. Or what? character that you think you would identify most as, or like most like, and then we'll do each other.
Okay.
Yeah,
We will identify each other.
we will identify each other. Well, like which character reminds us of each person?
I didn't do my homework.
And why? Don't just say a character and be like,
This
that's
guy.
it.
I wrote mine down. So I guess I'll start. So for myself, I think out of all the characters that were exposed in these two books, I found myself most like, as much as I want to say Violet, because I want to be with Xaden really fucking bad. I think I'm most like Rhiannon. So I find her logical, loyal, and protective of her friends, and I find that in myself. I feel like a lot of people also tell me that I can be like the mom of the group, or they call me mom. I kind of see Rhiannon like that, like she's mom of their squad. So I find myself most like Rhiannon. Besides the lesbian part, but it's fine.
You gotta do what you gotta do when you're about to die tomorrow.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So for Lauren, I saw you most in Riddick. Actually. And the reason why, because Riddick is very funny and witty and like knows how to bring like a lighthearted, fun air to things, but when time comes to, you know how to get serious. And I find that you're also a very loyal person and friend. So that's kind of the qualities I found in you.
I will take it.
Yeah.
1000%.
For Mafia, I had two.
Oh, lovely.
The first one was Mira. And the reason I chose Mira for you, because I feel like when most people read about Mira or get introduced to Mira, we can find her a little bit like intimidating.
Terrifying.
But
And you guys.
for anyone that doesn't know, I first met Moscow as like a teacher, as like a dance teacher. So, you know, she's completely different in her teaching mode. But
We're all dancers.
yeah.
You know, one thing I noticed is that the way that you talk now is how you also talk when you're teaching, because you're like, and the why behind that.
I'm like, this is why, so you understand.
You're right. So, Mira, because I think she can come off intimidating at first, but she truly very much cares about her people. And I find that in you. I also find her as like a good leader, and she's kind of like a no bullshit type of girl. So I think that's Miss Maciel. The other character, even though they're not like super big or main, was the, I guess you would call him Professor Felix, who shows up in Iron Flame to teach Violet more about training her lightning signet. There was specifically a line that I will pull up.
It's all about the foundation.
Yes.
Foundation.
That is Maciel.
My
She loves her foundations. That's what she does in teaching. And let me see if I can find it really quick.
did not come prepared. But I have the whole list that you sent the thing. So
Yes. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Okay, yes. So this is in chapter 40. And this is what Felix says. What you want to be doesn't change what you are without work. He picks up his pack and slings it over his shoulders. You never learned how to start small, like the rest of your squad, and then you move to bigger, harder strikes. You have to master the basics you were never taught, small, precise strikes, small strands of your power instead of whatever in Dune's name that was. So that's very much Maciel when she's teaching about.
you can't go 0 to 100.
No,
you
you can't
gotta
go 0 to 100.
remember how we all started, even if we were like babies. We didn't just learn how to fucking walk
Correct.
in 2 seconds the moment we came out of the womb.
Yes.
Back to the Basics program.
Back to the
Sponsored by
basics.
Lauren.
Sponsored by check it out if you're in Las Vegas. Period. Okay.
Lauren.
Okay. For myself, this is gonna be sounding like I really just want to date it. Okay, but it's not. I'm just thinking about the character. I said Violet.
We all want to be the main character. Okay, let's be
And I'm
real.
putting myself there. Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, here's the why. So my why is, well, I feel like it more so develops throughout the series more, but mainly in Iron Flame, is that Homegirl talks back every time.
Yeah.
Like she
That's
always
Miss
has
Girl.
something to say.
Mhm.
She's always like first one to not be like, okay, whatever. Yeah, no, I get it. She's the first one to always advocate for herself.
True.
She, even though she knows that in some areas she should doubt herself, she still doesn't.
Mhm.
And she kind of like fakes it till she makes it kind of person, which I feel like I sometimes do. She is fine with immediately cutting people out of her life, i.e. Zane. I'm fine with that as well. I'm fine with being like,
yes.
I don't need it. It's fine. So she's good with that. She thinks more logically than with feeling, except when it comes to Xaden, which I feel like also parallels for me is that except when it comes to like my couple people,
Mhm.
I think very logically and realistically versus like with emotion and feeling and whatever.
That means me and you are besties.
Correct. Let's see. Her man constantly telling people that they should be scared of her and not him is 100% me and AJ.
Oh.
Is that they should be scared of me and not him
Okay.
because he's not scary. And she has unconditional love for her friends as long as nobody crosses her.
Mhm.
So that was my reasoning.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Xaden.
Well, just a little bit.
Okay, and then my people for Jess. So for Jess, I said Jasenia,
Okay.
even though it's not just because your name,
Mhm.
but to me,
Yes, that makes
Jess,
sense.
because
You got to sign it to her. Could you imagine? This is the one.
I actually don't want to learn sign language. Anyway, my why behind that is because she's loyal and reliable from the start. Like, regardless of what
Mhm.
Violet asked of her, she was like fine to do it. She didn't really like. She just wanted to know, like, if anything was threatening or serious.
Right.
But other than that, she was down to do whatever she needed.
Mhm.
She's very like intelligent and like book smart in the sense that like she's very knowledgeable on what she's talking about. She's not like a true fighter, but she will cross over to or rebel for whatever side that she feels is the right cause.
Period.
And you literally got us into these books, so you're influential when it comes to a novel and the paper.
Period. Welcome to the scribe.
For Maciel, I also said Mira. Because to me, in the books, Mira, if she had an opinion, she did not back down from it. It was her
Mhm.
opinion and that was it. She's very overprotective of people who she cares about, but she's not lovey about shit in the sense that like she's not like, oh my god, let me call you.
Yeah.
She's very like, I will do what I need to do, but there's no need to like get in your feelings about it. And she argues her opinion down and doesn't back down.
Mhm.
And she can also, I
Period.
don't know if you hold a grudge necessarily. I feel like Mira did, but more so you remember things, like things stick with you whether or not you hold it as a grudge, but they're always in the back of your mind.
I have a forgive but don't forget mentality.
that's what
I
it is.
will never forget something.
Mhm.
Correct.
But I'll forgive you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I choose to.
Yeah.
So like with Mira and
Depends on
like
what you
later
do.
on,
Depends on what you do.
like with Mira and later on finding about like all the secrets that are being kept, I feel like she was never like, oh, I'm out, like this is not for me, but she was like cautious about it and like wanting to know
Right.
the whys and like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That was my-
It all stems from her love for Violet, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Miss Girl.
Did you have time to think about
I
it?
had time to think about mine.
Okay.
As I'm talking, I will probably come up with yours. I feel like I am most like Imogen.
Okay.
And the why
That's
for
another
that
person I thought of. Yeah.
is because you don't actually know her intentions. And I feel like people sometimes when they first meet me, they kind of have the wrong impression that they might think I'm one way, not the other. And what I mean by that is like when we first meet Imogen, everybody thinks, oh, she's in love with Xaden when that was not the case at all. She's
Right.
just extremely loyal to him. I'm very extremely loyal to certain people in my life that it may seem like I have no space for others, but that also comes from a part of me where I'm more, I don't want to say sheltered. I'm more blocked off. I have more of a guard up.
Mhm.
In general, I've always been like that. And it takes a moment for you to peel pieces away. And that's Imogen in comparison to Violet. She was very extremely loyal to Violet's safety as much as it annoyed her because, yeah, maybe it was because of Xaden,
Mhm.
but her loyalty to the marked ones is
Yeah.
never falters.
Yeah.
I'm like that. I'm super loyal to, my group.
Mhm.
That never falters. Perfect example, I have 2 friends from high school that I still hold near and dear to my heart. They live in different parts of the country, but like probably don't cross their mind too often. Me, I don't cross their mind too often, but they definitely cross mine.
Mhm.
And that's fine with me, like whatever. So examples like that. And then in terms of the thing with Violet, right? Like it could be anybody new coming into my life. Like if I see a connection there, like I will eventually show you my loyalty, but it just takes some time. And then it's like an undying loyalty, as much as that sounds fucking weird to say in real life. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's like that unconditional love, right? So and then also too, she's a badass bitch.
Yeah,
just
she
saying.
sure is.
Not saying I'm a badass
I love
bitch, but I
Imogen.
also don't take shit like she doesn't.
Yeah,
so
100%.
as much as you guys were saying like Nero's like that, I see that a lot in Imogen.
No, I see that.
I see that too.
And she's very quick with it. Like somebody will say something and she'll say something right back. That's
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I see myself like Imogen. Okay. So character wise, I agree with Lauren for you, Jess. I see you as Jacinia.
Okay.
And for you, it's your brain, it's your knowledge, it's your act of educating yourself further in whatever the situation is. Was about to say, you seem quiet at times. The girl doesn't even speak, but
She's literally mute. She's literally
but yeah, I just think finding as much information, doing as much research for like for instance, let's talk about this freaking podcast. Like you did so much research just in little time that clearly I wasn't prepared for. Like whatever, things like that. So I definitely see you as Jacinia.
Okay.
When you said for Rhiannon for yourself, I can see that.
Yeah.
You have a lot of characteristics as that, but I would definitely see you as Jacinia. And then for Lauren,
Una momento. I definitely see Imogen for you though. Actually, that was my second one from
I
Mira
also thought of Imogen.
because she like hated Violet off the bat.
Yeah.
But then obviously,
But also very much contributed to her growth, which
I
think
literally was like the secondary growth to me from Xaden. Right. It would be Imogen.
Something else I want to point out really quick. Sorry, before I jump to Lauren. Go with me here.
Okay.
So when I first met you, obviously it was through dance. I actually have a video of like you taking my dance class, and I even have a call out of you in that video. You kind of remind me of, when I think of those terms, you kind of remind me of Violet, where you seemed very timid, very outcasted in a kind of way, right? Like not opening up and this and that, which is not your personality at all. No, now knowing you.
Yeah.
But you came off like that.
Yeah.
And with Violet, like you think that. I don't want to use the word weak because that's not what I mean, but she was very just like, people kind of were just like, oh, okay. She was kind of the background, right? Except for like Dane's eyes and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She has so much growth, and just in general, like in dance, like I saw that in you, like you started blossoming and like you definitely came out of your shell. So when I think of terms like that in real life, like I can kind of see Violet. Yeah.
She's like, someone said it.
I was like, where's Xaden?
And also Violet is a Cancer and you're strong.
Oh yeah, she is. What was Xaden? I think a Pisces.
It was meant to be.
Is he Pisces? That's me.
I think he's a Pisces or an Aries.
That's my brother.
Okay.
Geez, Lauren. Dun, 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 dun. I'm so sorry I did not come prepared.
It's okay.
Okay, well, I agree with everything you said about yourself for Violet. Give me a moment. You guys talk about something.
You're so very much Riddick in my eyes. Very lovable character. Yeah, very lovable character. That's very funny.
Very quick to make a joke of everything.
Correct. Like, if you know this girl in real life, like, she is quick with those witty responses. It comes out like that, and we're just like, wow, how did
That's
you...
the ADHD.
Is Riddick undiagnosed? ADHD?
I'm also undiagnosed. I just diagnosed myself.
Okay, you guys might not agree with this.
Okay.
It's fine. Well, this person's characteristics, I guess, but I don't know. I just maybe see them different. So I agree with Riddick, but I think the toned down girl version of this is so wrong. Nobody's gonna agree with me saying this. Let me just not compare anybody.
Okay.
I kind of see Kat in less characteristics of what Kat is. I think she's funny, first of all. And I think she loves to mess with people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, her way of messing with people at times, especially when she was messing with Violet, I was like, it's fucked up. But that also kind of shows, like, don't mess with you.
It's true.
Or are you going to do something?
True. This is true.
She's very strong-willed. She's very... also like about her people, but it's obviously on the flyer sense. Mm-hmm. And she is definitely someone who, which maybe I don't know this about you, but if somebody maybe did you wrong, can you turn that around maybe in long ways later on? Maybe
depends.
But I just think what Riddick is, I shouldn't say that because I love Riddick, but what he's kind of missing is that fierceness. And she kind of brings that. Like, to me, she's kind of the opposite, but definitely not the opposite of Riddick in a female form. So
I can see that.
I
didn't really think about.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And you still kind of get Xaden.
I was gonna say, either way,
you got him. That was fun. It's nice to see like our different perceptions of each other.
Clearly, you guys think I'm a bitch. No, just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I like Mara too, but I don't know.
No, I see Imogen. Yeah. I mean, Imogen was a bitch too.
Yeah, I know, but she was part of the squad. Yeah. Mira's not.
She's in the inner circle.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. Next question. I feel like this is an easier question, so this will go by fast. But who would you want to be friends with?
Riddick.
100%.
1,000%.
Like, hello.
Yeah. Riddick and Rhiannon.
I'm fine without Rhiannon. Riddick. She could be my leader. I don't need to be friends with her.
That's fair. She could be like, more than one friend, Marcel.
Well, duh. Why do we have a podcast with 3 people? This will tie into Onyx Storm, which we'll talk about in the next episode, but I also think Quinn. And I have my reasons for that.
Yeah. I see her as being a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would also like to be friends with Andrina.
Oh yeah. I'd like to be friends with Sigale.
Yeah.
Bitches.
She's just like, I feel like we could be sitting on the top of a ledge, just like talk shit about
judging everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
she'd be so good about that.
She would be dope as a dragon.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, no, mine is 100% Riddick because I'd be cracking up all the time.
So funny. So funny. I love his relationship with Sawyer.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, those two are a nice duo, but I love that they didn't make Sawyer also the same personality as him, because then it's I'm like, I can't.
He's like the toned down side of Riddick and like keeps him from acting insane.
Yeah. Yeah. They're a good match together. Yeah.
Agreed.
One of the other questions we had is, which type of dragon would you want to bond? I don't know if we have a like chart or anything, but there are different characteristics of each dragon.
Yeah, I just pulled it up and we will have it here
on this wall.
Okay, so we'll go through the dragon types really quick. So the brown dragons, it says should not be shown trepidation. Did I say that word correctly?
Yeah.
The blue dragons are ruthless and vicious. Mm-hmm. They don't comply with the law. They're the rarest of the blues. Oh, that's the blue with the dagger tail. Oh, I forgot that the tails mean something.
I know. Let me see if I can find another one that has like a more in-depth.
Okay. So they're ruthless, at least. You know that. The blue dragons.
Yes.
The orange dragons are the most unpredictable and the most risky. Mm-hmm. Which we found out with Solus. Solus is the orange one, right?
Varish's dragon.
Yeah. Black dragons, they're the rarest. They are the deadliest, the smartest, the most discerning, and the rarest. I just said that. Red dragons are the quickest to temper. Makes sense, red. And then the green are highly intelligent.
Right.
And they're patient.
Here's like a little bit more detail. So for brown, because that didn't give me anything.
I know. I said, what does that mean, Jessica?
So So it says, whereas dragon colors have a known line, the line the brown dragons are descended from is unknown. The brown's defining characteristic is that it is best not to show trepidation, which is fear or hesitation around them. A notable brown dragon is Riddick's browntail Atrum. In Iron Flame, Atrum is injured but survives. Garrick also has a brown, and then Lilith Sorrengail also has a brown. Orange dragons come in range of shades. They are descended from, I'm not going to pronounce that, Facorin line? Maybe. Oranges are the most unpredictable in their kind, which makes them the most dangerous. Jack, Varish, and Amber all had oranges. Green.
If Orange wanted to bond me, I'd be like,
Let me try again next year.
Please don't burn me. I'm just going to go home. Greens exhibit high intelligence and demonstrate exceptional effectiveness as siege weapons.
greens. Those are greens.
Greens.
Okay.
So that's Rhiannon's, Mira's.
Mhm.
Yes, those two.
That makes sense.
Leadership.
I forgot about Mira. I
Mhm.
didn't grade one.
I forgot.
Tiny.
Yeah, tiny.
Reds are known for their volatile tempers. When approaching, it is advised to do so from the left or the right to avoid direct eye contact. Notably, Dane's dragon, Liam's dragon, Sawyer, Sloane, Felix. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Red.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Dane, Sawyer.
Interesting that like they're
'Cause
known to be the most
that
volatile
thing.
in temper, but their writers are not like the volatile type of characters.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. None
Which
of
is,
them all.
maybe that's a good blend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All about balance in the fourth wing.
You're right.
Yep.
Um,
Balance.
And then black is the rarest, most intelligent. That is Coda, which is Melgren's dragon, and then obviously violets. Yeah. And then blue, known for being massive, and their distinguishing trait is being the most ruthless of the den. Xaden's is the blue. Avoid any encounter with the blue dragon and flee immediately is the advised warning.
I mean, I think the obvious choice would obviously be a black dragon. I feel like they have a lot of like those good qualities. But a second closest for me, I think I would pick a green.
1,000
Yeah.
for you.
Ksenia?
I was like, if she says anything else but green, I would be like, Jess.
I would. Yeah.
I mean, it's your
Either-
opinion, but
Either black or green for me. Blue too ruthless. Red, orange. Fuck that. I'm not buying an orange dragon.
right.
Brown maybe, like as a third choice.
Who was the brown again?
So
I still got
Can't
confused.
show any fear. They don't
they're
like me for
descended
fear.
where they descended from is unknown, which is interesting. I wonder if they're gonna expand on that. But because they're
She got 2 books. Rebecca,
well, they're the
you got 2 books left. Please explain.
Please explain a lot. They don't really have other like, distinguishing characteristics other than like how to approach them.
Mhm.
But it is red. Like Atrum is brown.
Right. The brown dragons are interesting because the people who they bonded to,
Garrick, Riddick,
right,
Lilith,
right,
all very different.
all very different.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about more of this in Onyx Storm, but I like Riddick's relationship with his dragon, so that's why I would also consider a brown dragon. I know each
Oh,
dragon.
they're so fun.
Yeah, they're so fun together.
They're
I know-
little pranks.
right.
So funny.
Yeah, I know each dragon is different, but it gives me slight hope that they're a little bit more like on the fun side, maybe.
True.
Did you pick your dragon?
Color?
Color?
Yes.
Yeah,
We're not doing the tails, are we?
I
No,
didn't go
I
with
can't.
those.
I
Yeah.
don't
I
understand.
don't know. I'm like, I just figured it was like a weapon.
I just like the coolest,
I'm
the
like, I
coolest
just
one.
finished reading, guys.
Yeah.
Too much
For
to
me, I want the blue dragon because if it's the most
Yeah.
ruthless, I want it to be with me.
Period.
I would also pick the blue.
Okay.
But I think also it matches my true, I shouldn't say true personality, not make myself sound like
Ruthless
a bad bitch. But I just think it's kind of true, like ruthless. Like I don't, both of us, like we don't take shit.
Mhm.
We really
For
don't.
sure.
And I'm also the type that, okay, so Xaden will always say like, tread lightly or like,
Yeah.
that's not exactly the term he says, but along those lines
Right.
where unfortunately, sometimes I feel like that in real life. Like I will listen to somebody and I'll be like, be very careful what is said or how you attempt a situation, blah, 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 whatever. And when the viciousness has to come out, I got to come out.
Yeah.
So I would say also blue for myself.
Yeah. I can see those both for you guys. Cool. Okay, next question is this will probably be fast too because I feel like we're probably all very similar on this, but our least favorite character
in each book.
In Fourth Wing and then in Iron Flame. We'll do Onyx Storm next episode, but Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame.
Okay, Jack Barlow.
Absolutely.
Pick some. Anybody not agree?
Jack.
It was in Fourth Wing.
It was Dane. I fucking hate it. Because, okay, to me, Jack is like obviously
The villain.
nobody fucks with him. Like, which is, again, fine with me. If I don't fuck with somebody, I don't gotta fuck with them. And so she didn't fuck with Jack. For me, Dane was enemy number one in my eyes because he was a loyal friend but doubted her all the time and then betrayed her. And that was like a whole thing. So he was my least favorite.
Okay.
No, it's valid.
It's valid. He's definitely up on the list. Yeah.
He'd be number one if Jack wasn't there.
Right. I think another contender is obviously Amber, right? The one, the wing leader who tried to kill.
But she got hers, so
she got her own. She got what she deserved.
Karma came.
Karma came. He might appear. I can't remember when he appears, but I don't really care for Professor Carr.
Yeah,
he's
in the first one.
He's the one that helps with the sickness.
Yes,
I think it's a little too extreme.
The neck of that
he
kid.
snapped the neck of the Sick.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
I think that to me, he was just kind of like pointless in a sense because yes, he was training them in signets, but like later when she goes to Felix, finds out that like he wasn't doing shit for her.
Yeah.
So like in my sense, he was kind of just like a waste of time.
Right.
For everybody.
Exactly. For no reason. Iron Flame, Varish. 100%.
Very
fuck that guy. He's like what's her name? Umbridge of the
of
Iron Flame world or Fourth Wing world. I hated him so much.
He was so just annoying.
Yeah.
And then obviously the torture part. But like he was just so irritating. Every time he'd lurk around a corner. Like again?
I know, like leave the bitch alone.
So him, well done, obviously. And then oh wait, that's not until Onyx Storm. Yeah. So Varish.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that's like, I mean, there's so many.
I mean, for me, I didn't like Kat in Iron Flame.
I didn't like Kat because yes, she was annoying, but I thought her character was funny. Like
it
her
was
jealousy
funny.
and everything. Her coming to his room in a see-through gown. Hilarious.
Yo, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Girl,
Violet answers the door.
Trying to get her man. That was never hers. Violet's like, hi.
That bitch would
She
get
got a little
dagger to her
thirsty
arm.
for like the second half of it to where it was like, all right, girl, like he doesn't want you.
Yeah,
relax.
Like, let's let it go. But yeah, I was really pissed for Violet during that whole encounter. So, but she's grown on me since then. But that first part, I was like, bitch about to catch some hands, and that was me.
Also, the first half of Iron Flame, her mom, obviously, it's fine now because she's dead. But pissed me off in the first half of it, just because like she was just so aloof about everything.
Right.
And even though Violet was doing great and like obviously doing what she needed to do, she was irritating me.
This is this one will be a little bit more of a discussion probably, but
for Jess. Josh can talk about this for 4 more hours.
That's for forever. But our favorite like romantic scenes between Violet and Xaden
from each book.
From each book. So yes, we'll do
Fourth Wing
and then Iron
Flame.
Yes, I've got my list.
You go
You go first, Carol, so I can look at my notes.
Chapter 22.
Oh, she's got a big mark.
Yes, girl.
Page 278. Their first kiss.
Oh,
Their
first the wall thing.
The wall.
Yeah.
Yes. But specifically, I like...
She's like, let me sit out for you.
And yes, obviously, of course, the kiss is hot. But I like the lines that come before it. When he says, damn it, touching you was a bad idea. And she said the worst. And he said... kissing you would be a cataclysmic mistake. And she said, calamitous. And then he says, we'll both regret it. And she says, naturally. And he says, fuck it. And then I was like,
Period. You said this was chapter 22?
yes.
I said,
Oh my
Violet
God.
sees Xaden without his shirt for the first time and is swooning. His dragon relic of Sigil takes up his entire back. But he also has silver. Well, I was describing, but he also has the silver scars all over. But the fact that I wrote that, that's pretty funny.
Other favorites of mine was anytime when they're talking to each other, like
In their minds.
in their minds, I love, but specifically when she's pretty much like sexing him and his mind,
Yes.
and then he like chokes on his food.
Yeah.
That was
He's
hilarious.
like, girl.
And then a cute scene is like when he gets like the saddle made for her, and
Yeah.
like
Yes.
those like very
adorable.
sweet, caring, thoughtful moments.
The
It makes
daggers.
The dagger.
the daggers of Xaden. Well,
Agreed.
yes. Any others that you guys could think of?
Wow, no R-rated scenes for you as your favorite.
No, actually, I mean, I love them nonetheless, but they're not my favorite. That comes later.
Wait, I'm trying to look at my notes really quick. From
So,
Iron Flame.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it does stick in my mind. Just because I
Remember it so clearly?
remember it so clearly. Sorry,
Yeah.
what I was trying to say was I don't have a favorite because once I got stuck in Iron Flame, freaking Onyx Storm, I kind of forgot about certain specifics. But one scene that sticks in my mind is during Threshing, when the trio, so Jack, Tynan, and whoever the other person was.
Forget his name.
Yeah,
honestly.
I didn't write his name, so it
They're
doesn't matter.
dead, so who cares?
Oh, Orion. There we go.
Oh.
So I did write his name down. When they were obviously trying to kill Violet, and he's in the trees with Sigil watching, and then he has that moment where he steps forward because he was gonna intervene but didn't. That right there, I was like, oh, she means something to him.
Yeah.
Regardless of later on where it was like, oh, you didn't want. And I think they had this conversation in Iron Flame, but when it was like, oh, did you act this way because you had to because of
My mom.
because of my mom or what, or is it because you actually love me, whatever the case may be. That right there was a turning point for me where I was like, yeah, he really cares about this girl. Yeah.
Agreed.
Anything else to add?
No, are we just doing fourth wing right now?
Right now, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I play already.
I was trying to find it because I knew what I liked for fourth wing. For fourth wing, for me, it was the first kiss.
Yeah.
I loved. Well, one, I like the tension buildup. Obviously, between the two of them.
Obviously.
Um,
Enemies to lovers tension.
yes, but I love.
That's my favorite.
I love that whole scene setup with like Liam in the beginning.
Yes.
and her
hilarious.
like being feral.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious, and I really liked that whole scene all together.
Yeah.
So that was
Thank goodness they didn't fuck because Liam would have died sooner.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god.
He would have killed him.
Liam's just like, what is wrong with you? And she's like horniness through the right now. Okay. Iron Flame. Do you guys want to talk first? Do you want me to?
Do you have one, Warren?
I have. Yes, I have one that's my favorite, but then I have a couple quotes that are also my favorites.
Ooh, yes, I like quotes.
Okay, cool.
Let's bring the memory back of how amazing.
Let's
it
just-
is. Okay.
Okay, so my favorite scene, my favorite like romance part is obviously the chair scene.
Oh,
But I like the whole
house,
scene.
my chair, my woman.
That one.
That part. Giving
My
her the time of her
favorite-
life.
Yeah.
But like prior to that scene, I liked the buildup of it when she was fighting Kat and like Kat was heightening her emotions.
Yeah.
And so then Xaden had to like pull her out
Right.
and like distract
Ground
her
Yeah.
from it. So I liked that one. That one was my favorite.
Okay.
There were a couple quotes that were also my favorites in the book from Xaden. Oh, where did
While you're
they-
looking,
Go ahead, because I need to find it.
Yeah.
I just fucking lost it.
I'll say I have two distinctly chapter 27, which is when she thinks Xaden is hurt and she comes only to find out that he's been mended and he's fighting in the ring with he's sparring with the ringing Garrick, and then they go to the bathing chamber and they just they gotta do.
Actually, she wasn't fighting with Garrick. I mean, he wasn't fighting with Garrick. It was somebody else, right?
Oh, was it not?
I don't think it was Garrick. In the why? Can I?
Wait,
Yes.
the first time she goes to
When he had it, like she thought something happened to him,
Yes.
but his shields were up, and she finds him in the pit sparring with somebody. And
No,
the
I think it
only
was
reason-
Garrick.
Really?
It was, yeah.
Because
They
I
were just
thought
practice fighting or something.
what chapter did we say?
Because
27.
the first time she goes to what is that place called that he was stationed?
Is it
Samara?
Samara.
Yeah.
The first time she goes there, he is not sparring with Garrick because he is trying to spar and get time off.
To see her.
And that's when everyone is watching.
Right.
The
But
second
the second
time
time when she
Oh,
comes,
you're right. It is with
Yeah.
Garrick. I'm
the second time was with Garrick.
I'm
Yeah.
over here wrong.
And I like that because obviously him throughout this whole book is trying to gain her trust, him wanting her to say that she loves him again and stuff like that. But he's like so happy when she's worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
And, they go in there and they do what they got to do in the bathing chamber. And I said, okay. My second one is chapter 36, page 323. Specifically, she's being tortured by Varish, and he finally tells her that he loves her.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my favorite. Yeah.
I was like, he said it.
where is the
He
one?
finally said it.
He says, or do you have it on there? Let's
It might
recite
be
what
her
he
quote.
says.
Yeah, it's a long quote.
Where is
Page 323.
Oh, thank you so much. So basically, she's saying you'll lose everything you worked for because of me. He says, then I'll have everything I need. I will happily watch Arisha burn to the fucking ground again if it means you live. And then she's like, you don't mean that. And then he's like, I do. I'm sorry if you expect me to do the noble thing. I warned you. I'm not sweet or soft or kind, and you fell anyway. This is what you get, Violet. Me. The good, the bad, the unforgivable. Period. All of it, I am yours. You want to know something true, something real? I love you. I'm in love with you. I have been since the night the snow fell in your hair and you kissed me for the first time. Exhibit A, her favorite part in Fourth Wing. I am grateful my life is tied to yours because it means I won't have to face a day without you in it. My heart only beats as long as yours does. And when you die, I'll meet Malik at your side. It's a damn good thing that you love me too because you're stuck with me in this life and every other that could possibly follow. I hope he repeated that in, what happens in the next book.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay, I found there are multiple quotes, but I'm not going to read all of them. But I have 2 or 3. The first one Xaden said when they were meeting with Takaris for the first time, and Takaris tricks them into having for Violet to face Avenin, and then Xaden threatens Takaris, and he says, Violet is beyond your reach. If you so much as look in her direction with anything but the utmost kindness and respect, I'll kill you without a second thought and let Serena take your place. Do you understand me?
Period.
I love that.
You don't fuck around about her.
He sure don't.
And then the other one,
While you're looking for the other one, this is a favorite, a funny quote that I had wrote down that I thought was hilarious. So this is when they had just rescued her and they're walking up the tower or whatever. So it's Dane, Garrick is ahead, and then Xaden has Violet. And then they run into Lilith. And then Lilith is like, I need 5 minutes. And he's like, double checking if he wants to even let her stay. And he's like, okay, whatever. Like, you get 5 minutes. That's all you get. Yeah. So then, but he had told Dane before, like, you need to make a choice now because he didn't want to believe his father did them wrong.
Right.
So he was like, you either stay or you're coming with us to Arisha. Like, you fucking decide. This is the ball's in your court.
Yeah.
So on page 326, Xaden goes, Atos, did you decide to follow? And Dave was like, apparently. And then Xaden's like, then fucking follow. And then they climb the stairs to leave Violet with her mom to chat for about 3 minutes. And I laughed so hard. But I was like, it's true. Like, let's go. You don't need to be here.
We don't have time for you to fucking dilly-dally. Okay, well, I found the other one quote that I liked, specifically where he refers to, it was the first time I don't know, but the first time that I noticed that he implied that they were going to get married and be together. Because what was he referencing? I forget who he was referencing, but he said, I think it was having to do, never mind, I'll just read it. He said, I'd feel jealous, which is something you have a unique ability to bring out of me. And then I'd kick his ass partially because that's what I do when someone challenges me. And more importantly, for implying there's any other future besides the one where you and I are endgame. I was like, that's really cute.
Period.
Yes. Agreed. Okay. That's it for Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. We'll do the Onyx Storms one in the next episode. Okay.
Yeah.
So then the next one is our favorite Karen and Violet interactions in Fourth Wing. And
I love every interaction
Yes.
from them. Taryn is my favorite. Did we talk about our favorite characters? Oh, and I said Riddick? Did we talk about our favorite characters?
That's
Who
who
friends
we're
with.
But we don't say like our favorite character.
Okay, well, he's one of my
There's a
favorite
lot.
characters.
Yeah.
Spoiler. I love Taryn.
Yeah, if I was a dragon, I'd want to be
Mhm.
Sigale.
1,000%. Because Taryn is like the Zayden of dragons.
Yes,
Literally. But I love him so freaking much. He is not only, and we'll, when we get to our favorite scenes between Andarna and Taryn. Yeah, he acts like a father figure to Andarna, but also to Violet, because Violet has to go through this entire experience without her father, just with the knowledge that her father,
Or any parent, really, like her mom. Even
You're
her
right.
mom's not in the picture.
yeah. So he's basically
Yeah.
parenting her.
Yeah.
But they also just have the bond that they have where he guides her into, like everybody second guesses her and he's like, I chose you for a reason. Like he never second guesses her, but then I feel like she's constantly trying to prove everybody wrong, right? So whenever he's like, don't take too much power.
Yeah.
But she's like, I have to learn how to wield. I have to take all this power. And he's like, you're not like Silverland. He's like, don't take all this power and whatever. I love that in my eyes, I feel like he is trying to let her know, like, you are worthy of, you're the strongest one on our continent. Like you got all this power for a reason. You don't need to overdo it.
Right.
To prove even yourself wrong.
Yeah.
So obviously I feel like she's
What is it? A little
self-conscious.
Yeah.
Self-doubt about that. So I'll have to look through my favorite parts, I guess, of them. I definitely have more in Onyx Storm than probably these, but I love their relationship.
Me too.
For sure.
For Fourth Wing, I think one of the biggest chapters for me that I really love is the chapter 14, which is the threshing chapter, which is when he bonds her for the first time. So that's very memorable to me. But chapter 30, page 386, shall I get the wing leader?
That is so funny.
Dying.
I love
when
that
she
one.
was trying to
wield
her lightning with Carr, and she was having a hard time, and we know that those lightning strikes come whenever she's with him.
Yeah,
and
I
shall
love
I get
that.
the wing leader? And I was like, Dad got jokes. Okay.
I think that was my favorite quote from Fourth Wing because it was like his first dad joke.
Yeah. Which you don't want your dad making in real life, but with him, yes.
I love every time he goes through his lineage too. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She's like, I get it.
Yeah. It's like your father or your grandfather telling the same story of their past over and over. It's like, I've heard this 50 times already, Grandpa.
Like, we get it.
Yeah. How about you? Anything else come through my mind? No.
I think that would be mine too.
Okay.
Specifically for Fourth Wing. I think for Iron Flame.
I have mine for Iron Flame.
We know you do.
We know you sure do.
Let me reread.
Look.
Sorry. This one, I remember specifically writing in my notes because I love it so much, is chapter 19, when Varys just goes way too far with Violet, because he's so adamant on her bringing Andarna when she's in her dreamless sleep. And Taryn protects Violet after Varys tries to punish her for not bringing Andarna. He goes after his dragon as a threat, saying, like, if your dragon is dead, then you're dead and you're no longer going to be in power. And that he makes Varys get on his hands and apologizes to Violet. I was like,
I love that scene where he was like, no, on your knees.
Yes.
Fucking apologize. Beg.
That is hands down my favorite scene with them. It really shows his, like, love
Ooh,
Violet.
I did have one from Iron Flame too. What were they talking about? Oh, it was just like another scene where like I feel like Violet's always trying to make sure that Taryn is like okay.
Yeah.
But she always questions him and he takes it as an insult. And so there was, I think after he got injured, I forget when in Iron Flame, but Violet says, "Can you fly back to the Vale?" Oh. Anyway, she just asks if he can fly back to the Vale. And he says, "I've killed lesser Rylan by..." Pause. Wow. Violet says, "Can you fly her back to the Vale?" And Taryn says, "I've killed lesser riders for that kind of insult."
Yeah.
And Violet says, "So dramatic."
So dramatic. I think what I really like about their relationship too is it shows that Violet is not, and I know probably the other writers think this too, but Violet is not a writer that thinks of their dragon as just a weapon.
Yeah.
No,
Like
not at
she
all.
truly
Yeah.
cares about her.
Mhm. It's literally like her replacement of her dad, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's who I kind of
Right.
put Taryn in place for her.
And not just like the fact that, oh, like if you die, I'm gonna die. Like she truly cares about their well-being.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and then she also, I feel like she's constantly having the thing in the back of her head where it's like, okay, not only if you die, I die, Sigale dies, Xaden dies, and Darn, like everybody is at risk.
Mhm.
So I think she's like very much caring about all of them.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Do you have?
I can't find them.
Okay.
I have too many words on my notes.
Like I have
You can't see the. Yep, you can see it on all my notes.
Yeah.
Cannot find. I just love their relationship.
Yeah. In
I can recall more of Andarna and Taryn. I have a couple of those that I just came across, but
we can move on to that one.
Ooh, this is totally not in any topic, but I just came across a highlight was when I think it was when Catriona and Violet were fighting, and Kat says the thought or something like not Violet says not at all since I have him now, referring to Xaden.
Mm-hmm.
And Catriona says, "Really? The thought that I know what he tastes like?" Question mark. And I put in the notes, I was like, I would have scalped her. At that.
I like when she goes, Violet says something like, "Oh, thanks for the thanks."
Oh, thanks for or because she was like, I taught him that thing with his fingers.
yeah. And she's like, "Thank you for the no."
She's like, "Thank you for letting or like teaching him."
Yeah. It's
and
working.
then everybody's face was like,
And then I think it was Riddick that was like, he said something.
Yeah. Okay. Taryn and Andarna scene. Some of your favorites from Fourth Wing.
I'm like, I can't think that far back. Can we start with Iron Flame?
Well, the only ones that I can think of for Fourth Wing is obviously when he comes to Andarna's rescue in Threshing.
Mm.
I feel like
Oh yeah, because he was right behind her. Okay, first of all, this girl sitting there acting like she can't fly.
Like, please fly.
She's just
Please
like, you know, something might happen or something might not.
she's like, everything will be okay.
Andarna.
Please. So I feel like I can't think of much like interactions between Taryn and Darna specifically, besides him being like a father to her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
My favorite line. So, actually, I have two. This one. So this is in terms of Andarna, how she feels about Taryn. This is an Iron Flame. So it's page 609.
Yes.
When they finally, because remember, she was gold.
Mm-hmm.
Now in Iron Flame, she's like a black color, but then also it's not like truly black.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, she's supposed to be like a purplish.
Mhm.
And then when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, Violet.
Yep.
Let's just think colors
Mhm.
go together.
Our two
Anyways.
favorite people.
Violet says, and this is after what is it? They had the Wardstone.
Yes.
After that whole entire scene happened, that Violet finally looks at Andarna and she's like, "Hey, your scales aren't really black." And Andarna says, "No, but he is, and I so badly want to be just like him."
Yes.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
my heart.
that
He's
was
like the
cute.
best like role model for her.
But it's funny that in like later in Onyx Storm that she then flips to want to be like Scale.
you're right.
She's like, I hate my dad.
But this was something that she mentioned to Violet that I was like, again, letting Violet know that you are so much more worthy than what you believe that you are. So she says, I waited 650 years to hatch, waited until your 18th summer when I heard our elders talk of the weakling daughter of their general, the girl forecasted to become the head of the scribes, and I knew. You would have the mind of a scribe and the heart of a writer. You would be mine. You are as unique as I am. We want the same things.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was such a significant conversation that she was having with her, because everybody looks at Andarna like she can't do anything.
Right.
She's constantly pushed off to the side. I get it. She's an adolescent, but she's so much stronger than people know. And she's still an adolescent, even in Onyx Storm. So I'm curious to see how her power evolves and whatever in the next
Same.
Yes. Same.
books.
And like how big she's actually going to get. And
Yeah. But that, I love that moment between Andarna and Violet.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yeah. That one that you mentioned about him wanting to be like her, that's also on my favorite. And then I have one more, which is more funny, which is chapter 38, page 356.
What chapter?
I'm just like, I'm reading off of vibes.
Chapter 38, page 356. This is when they're trying to get the luminary, I think, from Tikaris or whatever. So Xaden says, but okay, well, Andarna agrees, and she said she makes a good point. And she's talking to Taryn. She's like, can you carry a luminary? And Taryn's like, that question insults me. And she's like, can you carry a luminary while insulted?
Oh my gosh, she's so quick with the comeback.
Yeah.
So funny.
I thought that was so funny. But yeah, also one of my favorite scenes between them.
Yes.
Okay. This isn't a question that's on here, but we clearly know the saddest scene in Fourth Wing is when Liam dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like a baby.
how did you feel? How did you react?
So I got spoiled a while back because after reading ACOTAR and Fourth Wing, they kind of like, if you're on Book Talk, you're going to come across both of those things. And so like before I even read, I was like, oh, the blonde character dies. And like, obviously in your mind, you picture Liam, but still reading the book, even though I knew it, like it hit me like a knife to the heart. You know, the line that we all know. It's been my honor. And I was like, and like when they're carrying him over to like taking him over to his dragon and stuff like that, and I was just like, yeah, rip my heart out, stomp on the ground type.
I 100% thought that Liam, if he hadn't died, and Justinia were going to have like romantic.
Yeah.
Because like, well, because she was always like, Liam was always with Violet when she was going into like the scribe quadrant, and I remember he would like make jokes about like how he thought Justinia was like cute and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Those robes, girl.
Those beige robes.
That hood.
Which I can't help but think of like a toga for some reason. Literally, that's what I think of.
But I started tearing up even before that when they were at the Battle of Resin, and it like Liam was falling, and I thought he was going to die then.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was already upset, but I also was spoiled by his death from memes on the internet. So I knew he was going to die. I just didn't know when.
So I didn't get the spoilers because anything that came across any type of fantasy on my Instagram, I clicked out of it. This was before.
Yeah.
So Fourth Wing, I read and I listened to an audiobook. And so I think for me that that entire scene, listening to it, great jobs to the narrators because y'all gave your all reading those scenes. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
There.
And I just start bawling. The part that was the gut wrench was obviously him saying like, it's been my honor, but was when Xaden put the shadows over him and he like screamed. And I was like, that's his brother.
That's his brother.
Yeah.
Like that is his person and he just lost his person.
Yeah. They
but
grew together essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I shared this with you guys, but obviously I've never felt that type of way reading a book. So that also goes why I gave it, you know, I love
5 stars.
the series.
Yeah.
But I've never actually cried ever reading a book.
Same.
So I was very surprised.
Yeah.
And then of course I was like, am I on my period? But I clearly cried in the other 2 books.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But his loyalty is just everything.
Yeah.
Like he was so loyal to her. He is a sweetheart.
Mhm.
And I hear some interviews with Rebecca Yarros saying like he was perfect. There was no way
Yeah.
for him to grow.
Mhm.
I saw that too. Her
He was
explaining like
perfect.
why she killed him off because like there was no character development to be had for
Yeah.
him. It was just like he was perfect.
He was there to do his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's gone.
Right.
Type of thing.
So okay, I get it. Like it already happened. You can kill him off. It's also your book. But
Whatever.
But the word perfect, it's funny because I never thought of that. I think each one of them has a specific flaw.
Mhm.
And when I think perfect, I just feel like you don't like at all have a flaw
Mhm.
Yeah.
and whatnot. But anyways, his loyalty definitely, that just goes to show.
I
that
thought
she has the
that
best people
too.
around her.
Yeah. I thought that especially when they went to like that was it like an evening like
That little
gala
party
thing?
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And none
And
of
like
the marked ones went like
Liam
he
went
did.
with her and she was like, she was mad at Xaden because she was like, I hate that he forced you to come to this. And he was like, he didn't force me. Like I said I was going to protect you and I'm going to be here.
Oh.
Even though like everyone's celebrating my mom and dad's death. Yeah.
Listen.
Two other parts from Fourth Wing that I remembered was what Violet said as he was dying. She said, "Thank you, Liam. Thank you for being my shadow, and thank you
Yes.
for being my friend."
Mhm.
I don't like that she called him his shadow, but I get it.
I get
I
it.
don't like that. I was like, he is more than that.
And then also I cried again after he died when she took out the little carving of Andar.
Yes.
Yes! Oh my god!
So cute.
All right.
Rip.
R.I.P.
And then he makes another appearance in her whatever
Yeah.
state she's in when she's being tortured, right?
Right.
In Iron
That was
Flame.
nice because it wasn't like he was done and ended with.
Right. Like she brought him back a little bit.
Yeah.
To prove that he'll always be with her.
Right.
And I cried again. So
100%.
I wanted to mention one more thing because we
Okay.
still have to talk about the saddest parts in Iron Flame for us.
Yes.
But for those of you that are hopefully listening or watching, this is our first one. Alex Hart is an artist that I found online, and I sent you guys a song.
Oh yes.
He makes covers for, or I guess he makes Bookish Song Collective, I guess is the name of his whatever. Anyways, you can find it on Spotify. But it's called Eyes Shut, and this is to be his song dedicated to Liam. I just gotta play it real quick, just the one part.
So sad.
Whoever's making the live action adaptation,
Literally, just,
hire
like
him.
that's the song.
Get him paid. That was an amazing song, Alex.
That's literally the song that's going to be playing as he's
as he's dying.
Literally, such a good song. And every time I hear it, I'm in my freaking feels.
Yeah.
Because it literally says, I'm no longer somebody's son, but I'm somebody's brother. So he doesn't have parents anymore. And
Yeah.
he is
Xaden's
Sloane's
brother.
and Xaden's brother.
Mhm.
And then I give my all. And if
Sure
this is my
do.
last battle, then it's been my honor, which it was his last battle. He gave it, And then he says, I'll be there for you with my eyes shut.
Mm.
Translation, Iron Flame.
Yeah.
He's
a ghost.
so good. When I want to be in my feels, that's what I listen to now.
When I
Like,
need
when I
to
need to cry.
It's only 2
Episode
minutes and
off.
41 seconds on repeat.
Yeah.
But okay, so saddest parts in Iron Flame.
Obviously that when Violet's being tortured and she sees, I mean, it's sad, but it's also like a little bit heartwarming at the same time, right? That he's still there for her when she needs him most.
Mhm.
And then obviously the ending when Lilith Sorengale gives herself and her power to the Ward Stone against Sloane's will. She didn't want to do that as much as she hated Violet and her mother and everything that they've quote unquote done to her and her family. Was very much objecting, wanting to pretty much kill her. And that was very heart-wrenching because you find out more about, I think she's very much painted as like a very bad mother in like the beginning of the series, and then you find out that all she wants to do is protect her kids.
Yes.
And I think it goes to show too, she completely changed once she found out that Brennan was alive. That it was one of those things, right? Where it's like, I'm not going to sacrifice him again, even though it was a false death. I'm not going to sacrifice him. I'm not going to sacrifice Mira, which is probably the most logical one out of the three. And that was her only shot at showing them her true feelings to her kids, which they meant everything to her. I cried so effing hard.
Yeah.
I was like,
I did too.
And this one, so I read, right? Again, I said in Fourth Wing, I listened to it and I was like, oh. And in this one, I specifically just read it. Yeah. And at first, because I was getting ahead of myself, I thought that they were trying to sacrifice Sloane. And I was like, not another Mark. And then I started noticing that it was obviously Lilith herself. But I cried a lot. And I said, oh, look at that. Me reading words makes me feel a type of way.
See, I used to listen to the audiobook and I read. And like also the way the narrator is like, her voice was shaking and she was like, Mom, no. And I was like, oh my God.
Kill me now. Let me go with her.
That was obviously my sad. Like that was the only point that I actually cried in Iron Flame, I think. I didn't think I cried at any other point. But another one that I was really sad about was in the beginning of Iron Flame after the Battle of Resin. When Violet was talking to Andarna, and Andarna was like, I can no longer stop time. And then Violet's like, I know. And Andarna was like, are you disappointed in me now? And Violet was like, you're alive. You kept us all alive. How could I be disappointed? But I was like so sad for Andarna because I was like, she's constantly feeling like she's a disappointment.
Right.
So sad.
Baby girl, you're doing all you can.
Going back to Lilith, I think Rebecca did a good job at making us be sad and feel a certain way about Lilith stuff, because I feel like the first interaction that we get that we show like, oh shit, like she's actually not so bad is when she's talking to Violet after she's being tortured, right? And she's also saying like, I didn't want you to go to the scribe quadrant, like
to get yourself killed.
Like, and we find out like all these reasons of what she was actually doing. And I think that kind of built up to like her death and us being kind of mournful of it, right?
It makes me think about now you saying that, it makes me think about the very first question that we talked about of her separating, like her friends become her family, and the kind of weird relationship she has with her family. Like you see that throughout the whole first book, the whole second book, that you're kind of just like, I mean, I think for myself, I'm kind of like, her family's kind of shitty. I just think that.
Even like, I feel like her dad has some secrets. Like, I don't think he was shitty, but I think he had a lot of secrets.
For sure.
That like would have helped Violet, that he kept from her, obviously for certain reasons. But I think in a way, he kind of disserviced her as well.
Yeah.
Even though he's still helping her, obviously.
Yeah.
But.
And then it goes to show like her mom sacrificing herself. Like that was her truest form of showing her love. Yeah. That it was more so of an internal thing of, I feel like for each of them, right? They're constantly trying to control her and this and that. And she doesn't know how they feel about her. Like her mom told her, this is back to Fourth Wing, when her mom told her like, you will address me as general. Like you're not going to call me mom. Right. You know? So I feel like she never even knew how her mom felt about her, because they also too, they thought that she only loved Brennan. Yeah. Right.
Because that was the only one she ever like showed emotion for.
Right. And it was like, no, I love all of you children. And I'm not going to let Violet sacrifice herself, because she pretty much was trying to. Right. Mira, unfortunately, wasn't there at that exact moment. And then again, she's not going to let Brennan die again. So yeah, full circle on that part. Yeah. I can't think of any other.
There was another part too, I noticed. Well, because it was like another point where her mom showed more emotion was when they had the meeting after the rebellion went to Eratia, and then they met back with Malgren and her mom when they asked for their help to come back to Basgiath. And she found out Brennan was alive. Yeah. And I feel like she showed more emotion in terms of like wanting only safety for her children. But obviously she knew more and didn't want, like, she wanted to protect them from what she knew from the beginning, which I thought was.
Yeah. there's a couple of notes that I wrote here that I thought were funny to bring up before we kind of close it out. One was this is in part 2 of Iron Flame when Mira reunites with Brennan. I thought that was hilarious.
yeah.
She literally just walks up to him and punches him in the face. And I was like, I
man.
would have done that too.
Yeah.
You
You're like,
played
you
me
let
for
me.
6 years thinking that you're dead. You catching these hands.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
period.
I thought that
So
was
I guess I
hilarious.
am like Mira.
Characters of both. Characteristics of both.
And then where is it? Oh, Jack Barlow coming back to life.
Oh,
Yo.
When I found out that Naolan was working on him that whole time, I was like, I would have murdered that man on sight.
Not Nolan.
Not Naolan.
Nolan.
Nolan,
Yeah.
sorry, not Naolan. Nolan.
Yes.
When he
Naolan is Taryn's. Oh,
Yeah, is the old
right.
Rex.
Okay.
When I found out he would like this whole time, everyone's like, he looks so weak and drained. It's because he's been trying to fucking bring Jack Barlow back.
Yeah.
Crazy. And literally it's all his fault that any of this.
Right. I definitely so Jack being Venom was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jack coming back being friendly, I was like, something's up.
Yeah.
Something is up.
Which he saved Violet
Right.
on the turret, whatever that was.
About that.
Which, yeah, I'm still very confused. Like, why? Well, obviously, because we know that they don't want Violet dead. Like, the Venom want her to turn. So obviously, his like mission was to keep her alive. But like, why he was so nice about everything, I didn't really understand that when he was Venom to begin with.
Wasn't there like some sort of potion or something that's like, am I just like not?
Well, I know like they kept saying like Nolan was trying to save his soul.
Yeah.
And like mend his soul. So I don't know if that was part of it, that like
and then
he
it
was
just was never complete, maybe.
Yeah, it just like didn't take.
So I wonder if that's like those remnants of him being nice is when Nolan's like putting all of that into him, but then it doesn't last. Like he has to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
I don't know. Nolan,
Maybe he's just a terrible vendor.
Nolan is literally
I feel
Nolan
like he can't do
is
shit.
to blame for literally everything that's happened actually after Jack died.
Yeah.
All the Venom shit, it's Nolan's fault.
Oh, wait, the part where, and we get this, like Venom, well, this kind of ties into how they explain it in Onyx Storm, but when you turn Venom, you have a choice of what you still kind of connect with, right? And then, what is it? He decided not to bond or keep the bond with his dragon.
Yeah.
So when he kills his dragon, as he's...
I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. I'm losing words.
Yeah. When he's like, he's trying to, he breaks the word stone or whatever.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he severs his bond with his dragon. And
Yeah. I was like,
his dragon.
wow.
Yeah.
That was very shocking to me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he probably gained power as well from like killing her because he was able to take the power, or I don't remember if it was her or him. But
I had a feeling though too that when they all left for Erasia, and then there was Navarians that stayed behind at Basgiath, and and her herself, she was like, "I'm so glad Jack decided to stay." I didn't know how he was going to come back, but I was like, they brought this motherfucker back for a reason.
Oh, 100%.
I just didn't expect it to be that.
Yeah.
And last thing is, how do you feel about the ending, which is Xaden becoming Venom? Or first channeling power, I should say that. Because he's an initiate, essentially.
Yeah. He's an initiate.
Well, I thought it was interesting leading up to him fighting the Sage, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was the Sage that he was fighting at the end of Iron Flame Berwyn?
Yes.
It was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when, like, before he went to go fight Berwyn, he was saying that, like, Berwyn's been waiting for him.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, later we find out that, like, there is a specific reason. But I'm curious if, like, Xaden knew all along that that was something that he was going to struggle with, was being able to keep himself from channeling. And that's why, like, he was hesitant on fighting Berwyn because Berwyn was waiting for him. Don't know where the rest of my train of thought was going. Say words.
I can get what you're asking. Yeah, it's a little bit heartbreaking, but I understand it for the plot.
Yeah.
Like, how
Internal struggle.
right, like how much can you write about a war with the venom? Like how long can you make this go on for without there being like another piece of the puzzle that she needs to figure out and needs to do something about pretty much, right?
I also think that like every book has had like an external struggle and then like an internal struggle.
Right.
So like in Iron Flame, I feel like the internal struggle was like Violet and Xaden and all the secrets until the end of it. But I feel like then it sets up for Onyx Storm for being the internal struggle, being Xaden and Venom, and then also the other enemies as well. Because otherwise, yeah, it's like how much can you really write about like we have an enemy,
Right?
we need to kill him.
Yeah.
I always think about the timing of it all. So, who didn't need to sacrifice themselves? Was it meant for both of them to sacrifice themselves? Meaning, Xaden and Lilith, because it technically happened at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get the wards up, and Lilith, of course, doesn't know what's happening on the field. Now, nobody wants him to turn venom, but regardless, she doesn't know what's happening. So of course she sacrifices herself because she's like, this is the only way that we're going to get the wards up. This is the only way to clear the venom. Like, I have to do this for my children. Then you have Xaden, where when he opens up his wall or whatever, and he feels a little bit of what's her name? Violet. This is the main character's name. When he feels a little bit of Violet, he knows that she's kind of drained and he thinks that she's dying.
Right.
And he will do anything for her. So for him, he's like, this is the only thing I can do. I have to channel the power. But then the part where I was like, oh, like another heartbreak, I didn't cry, but another heartbreak was when Sigale was like, I chose you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
she felt betrayed.
She felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And then he said, Violet chose me too.
Yeah. Girl.
You can't be the only woman in my life, Sigale. I'm so sorry.
Well, and I'm curious too, like with both of those things happening at the same time, like if it was like in the timeline of things, if it was necessary for Xaden to have channeled or if he had held off, if Lilith activating the ward stone would have happened in time for him not to have channeled at all.
Right. Like what would have happened to the sage?
Yeah.
Would he have lost most of his power? So then it's kind of like, we don't need to be doing this fight. Because at the same time too, like I get it. They don't want to be a part of the or they don't want to be within the wards, but they technically still get, it's like doormat, their powers. So he wouldn't have died essentially, the sage.
Well, and also,
Just be easier to kill.
didn't.
Right.
He didn't, did he? Because right?
So Spoiler on Storm.
Sorry, I'm just thinking like whole game of
Well,
things.
we thought that though.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, we
So
thought.
we
thought.
We did. We thought. But yeah.
Bleep it out.
Yeah, it's just the unfortunate.
So it really was for nothing.
It was, but like they don't know that, right? Like,
Obviously.
he didn't know that Lilith was
Whatever.
gonna sacrifice herself to power the ward stone, and like
Yes.
it sex, and like they have their shields up for a reason, right? Like so that the enemies can't know what they're doing, right? Or like get to them. So
this is the last thing I want to say about Jack. I'm sorry, just reading my notes. It's funny.
Okay.
So this is chapter 59. I was like, the war will happen at Basgiath. They get to the ward in the college and come face to face with Jack again. I put in all capitals, this motherfucker.
this motherfucker is correct. Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well,
is there anything else?
I think that's it. For next episode, we're going to dive more into like the types of signets that we would want to have, right? We'll relive some more of our favorite scenes,
Theories.
We're going to dive into theories into Onyx Storm.
We'll be talking about Onyx Storm.
Yeah. And then for our next episode, we're also doing a whole Riddick dedication and talking about our bisexual king character. Yeah.
And we'll do some games.
And we'll do some games.
And fan casting.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna talk about fan casting as well.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It'll be a fun episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the the first episode of our podcast.
We don't know how to do this, but we're gonna learn
it.
Stay dramatic.
Stay dramatic. Stay unstable.
Stay unstable. Love all the fiction in the world.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Like, subscribe,
Comment. If you guys have any books or series that we should add to our list of things to read and talk about, then please put them in the comments below.
Yep.
And yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.